Mamelodi Sundowns became the second South African club to win the CAF Champions League since Pirates did it in 1995 after their win in Egypt last night, while the Cheetahs won the Currie Cup for the first time since 2007. Meanwhile, Bok coach Alistair Coetzee announced his touring squad for the November internationals. To discuss this and more, I'm joined in studio by Sport24 editor Gary Lamley and chief writer Rob Howing. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome back.
Nick. Thanks very much.
Rob, you watched some local football for a change.
Yeah,
I believe last night. Yes, so Mamelodi Sundowns, the pride of South African football this morning, and rightly so. And in spite of a pretty hostile environment in Egypt, as you know we've come to expect, what did you take from that match?
I thought it was a tremendous game. There was lots of excitement. It was all very sort of helter-skelter. As you say, lots of sort of off-the-field drama. You just sensed, even though we were sort of watching from the comfort of our living rooms, thousands of kilometers away, that Egyptian crowd are quite a passionate, aggressive bunch. The lasers were flying all over the place. They were flashing in the referee's eyes and in the South African players all the time. Especially the goalkeeper seemed to be targeted, especially naturally. And under the circumstances, I thought Sundowns did terrifically well. They lost the second leg 1-0. And I thought they played every bit as well as they did in the first leg, which they won 3-0 at home under obviously much easier, less trying conditions. I never had the sense that they were actually going to surrender the tie. You could see Zamalek were absolutely desperate. They threw the kitchen sink early on. They had players sort of falling around all over the place, which almost in a way sort of played into Sundowns' hands, because it did create a little bit of sort of time wasting. It meant that Sundowns were able to have a little check every now and then and just sort of regroup, work out where they were going. I thought they defended with quite a lot of spirit, sometimes a little bit naively, but it was a terrific performance. They almost deserved to get at least a draw in that second leg game, because there were a couple of chances at the other end. While Zamalek were throwing everybody forward, Sundowns occasionally got opportunities on the break, and but for a couple of good saves or slightly disappointing misses, the tie could have really been put to bed a lot earlier. But as it was, Zamalek got their only goal in the 65th minute, which that's not too stressful for Sundowns when you think there's not that much of the game left. Zamalek still had to score 2 goals to level the tie, or 3 to win it, and I just never got the sense that was going to happen. So it was richly deserved, and a great fillip for South African football. 21 years since we last won that competition, and we all know what happened with South African national football just after the period when we won the last one, when Pirates won it in '95. Of course, we went on to win AFCON in a glorious period in South African soccer. I'm not sure we're quite ready at national level to make another sort of massive step up like that. But at least it shows that the corpse has a pulse in South African football. All is not lost.
Garen, on that note, I mean, how much can South African football fans take from this win? There does always seem to be a lot more emphasis on winning AFCON, and how big a deal is it to win the CAF Champions League? I mean, it probably could be marketed a bit better.
No, perhaps so. It's a huge thing to win for, especially obviously the club scene in South Africa. Not a lot of clubs have taken this tournament seriously in the past. We've had Kaizer Chiefs in previous years even refusing to play in it. So hopefully, it gives all those other teams, Sundowns, Pirates, Chiefs, Wits even, who will be playing next year, this fillip to go ahead and actually, focus on the tournament, as a lot of English Premiership teams do. They fight in Europe for the Champions League as well as on the domestic front for the league title. It seems in South Africa it's very much the ABSA Premiership, and that's all everyone is actually focused on. And then you have these couple of Nedbank Cup and Telkom knockout tournaments, and that seems to suffice for the South African teams. But as Rob said, ironically, 95 when Pirates won, they went on to win AFCON the next year. Neil Tovey lifting the trophy. Unfortunately, next year in AFCON we haven't even qualified. So that just shows the difference in the 21 years that we were at the peak of our powers 21 years ago. Not so much at the moment. Now the big thing is obviously to try and qualify for the Russia Soccer World Cup in 2018. And we drew with Burkina Faso away, picked up a point. It is a away point, but Burkina Faso are hardly a soccer power in Africa. So we've got a lot of work to do there. I think if old Shakes Mashaba doesn't qualify for that, it could be the end of the road for him as a coach. So the Bafana national level not looking nearly as good or rosy as it is at club level, unfortunately.